Okay. So in that case, let's start. I think last time we almost left at this point where there were a few pointers for when we are observing our own inner movements, when we are consciously aware of our thoughts, our feelings, our inner movements, and also kind of focusing more on silencing, focusing on the inner silence rather than on the surface activity. So here, many a times things can happen, not things are not really in our control all the time. So there are a few pointers how to continue on this path, and how we can avoid a few traps if possible. Many a times we fall into the trap, and then that's our journey to first fall into the trap, get trapped there, then you move out, uh, recognizing that it was a trap. But many a times, if we are already aware, there are a few pointers which can help. So a few pointers are maybe not putting yourself in a knot, such as I will never come out of this. We may go through difficult challenges, mentally, emotionally, confusing times. And even astrologically, there are periods in each ones of our lives where we can't really help much. Things are out of control. The mental haze is very strong, the emotional haze is very strong, and these are periods called as ulka periods in astrology, and they come in everybody's life. At least once they come. The period can extend over a 2 year or a 3 year time, but they just come. One has to go through it. And I'm realizing that uh, although they can be very very challenging period, that what can happen is that a person who is really very well balanced in a day-to-day life, very very calm and centered, may actually lose his balance in such times, out of just any trivial reason or things that he may be attached to. And that mental haze or emotional haze may bring in a lot of dissatisfaction and discontent in life, which was absent earlier as the person used to be. So although these periods can be very very challenging, I'm just adding on that even astrologically there are such periods where you can't really help it. But there is one thing which always comes to help, that can I have a little uh, attitude which is looking in a manner that, okay, what have I to learn through this phase. If that attitude is there, if one can continue once, many a times it happens that even that attitude is not possible. The times are so heavy. But if that attitude is there, that okay, the times are really tough, I have a lot of mental haze, I have a lot of emotional haze, I'm not really finding my feet on the ground, again and again I have to consciously work at it. One can actually make these periods, such periods of mental emotional haze, as a time to focus within, because there you realize that there is only one way out from all the disturbances, and that is turning to the divine, becoming desireless, becoming uh, rid of, void of likings, preferences, what I want, just absolutely giving everything to the divine rather than asking things from the divine. So these periods again can become a lot of progressive periods, with a lot of challenge also, but a lot of progress. So not saying that I will never come out of this, because that again you are putting a thought, that thought becomes a feeling, and you weigh yourself down under that thought that you create in your head. Oh poor me, nobody understands me. And these are thoughts which are not alien to us. We all have felt at some or the other point of our life such thoughts do come in our life. Yeah. So the author, using different reference books, he says that you can notice such thoughts, but don't believe it. So वो पड़ी है साइड में, कोने में पड़ी हुई है. You are not really buying into them. You know that they are there, but you are not giving much importance to them. Do not identify with them. उनको अपने साथ चिपका नहीं लेना. Do not build up a drama in yourself by justifying that you have good reasons to feel sad or angry. किसी बंदे ने कुछ किया, किसी बंदे ने कुछ किया, and अब तो मेरा हक बनता है परेशान होने का. So not to knowingly put ourselves in that drama. Yeah. And when this happens, if you feel yourself getting trapped in the drama of me and my story, if you see that happening, locate your consciousness in the other part of yourself. So right now I am identified with thoughts, feelings, and whatever external is happening. Take this moment when you're getting too disturbed by the outer happening thoughts and feelings. Take this moment and try to locate your consciousness within. What we have been trying in the earlier sessions through exercises, that the same consciousness first becomes aware of thoughts. The same consciousness becomes aware of feeling. Same consciousness aware of body sense perceptions. And one can just turn the kind of eye within, looking at the consciousness itself, looking at the looking itself. So that's something which is absolutely relieving in nature, because then you are not looking at the content of consciousness, you're looking at the consciousness itself. You are knowingly identifying yourself as that consciousness. Yeah. So locate your consciousness in another part of yourself. One can also do that when mentally one is troubled, emotionally one is troubled, one goes out, take a nature walk, connects with nature, connects with the body, with body movements, or maybe some music, or so that helps us that okay, there is something more also. Thoughts and feelings are not the only reality, there is also more to life. Otherwise at times they become just too overwhelming. Yeah. Try to see how you can choose to connect with a dark or a light part of yourself. So this is something which we were doing last time, shifting our focus of I. So okay, now I suddenly become aware of the noises that I'm hearing. Yeah. So my focus is shifted to the ears, the body. Suddenly I'll become aware of what are the thoughts in my head. So I now can identify with thoughts. Suddenly I become aware of, okay, how am I feeling right now? Yeah. So you become aware of your emotive, vital being, vital nature. So we have to notice that we have the power to move this consciousness from here to there. So I also have the power to disidentify from the thought, feeling, or the pain that I may be having. This is absolutely a great power that has been given. Yeah. Because many a times when the me and my story drama is too much, I'm absorbed there, then you feel that that is the only reality that is there. There is nothing else in my life. But once I know that, oh, can I just look at this consciousness itself, which looks at the thoughts, looking at the looking itself. And there we find a lot of silence and relief. And that's where we have to identify ourselves more and more. Yeah. Please keep sharing whatever comes in between. Keep sharing, keep reflecting. Yeah. And then if we, yes, Sambhav, you have something to say?
Just a little remark that I want to make.
Yeah.
That looking at looking itself, this is a very beautiful phrase, because I've been feeling this thing, but I didn't know these words. These words are helping me to explain this to somebody. So good words, just a little remark.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So again, few more pointers that when we begin पहले क्या कर रहे होते हैं, पहले we are observing the outer world. हमारा पूरा ध्यान बाकी लोगों पे है, लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, उसने मुझे क्या कह दिया, किसी और ने मेरे बारे में कमेंट क्या किया, अच्छा वहां क्या हुआ, वहां क्या हुआ. Now that we are turning within ourselves, what we do is, not even wantingly, we keep on judging ourselves. So at the same time that I am observing my own inner movements, what am I thinking, what am I feeling, what is going on with the body. Yeah. Usne ye bola to mere mein kya hua? I am now more focused on that. At the same time, what happens is, not knowingly, we start to judge and criticize ourselves. It's an old habit. Since we have been looking outside and judging others, and judging has its own pros and cons, but it should not be used everywhere. We use it everywhere. Like एक चाकू दे दिया तो वो कहीं पे भी घुसा दो. We must know with discernment where to use the judging. Yeah. So if I'm looking at my own inner movements, becoming more conscious of my inner movements and thoughts and feelings, do not start judging and criticizing. Oh my God, ये कैसे हो गया? I would never get out of it. अरे फिर से anger आ गया. So what happens is that when we do this, then we almost deflect ourselves from a plain kind of a being of love, which is all embracing, which is saying, अच्छा jealousy है, okay. अच्छा hate बैठी है, okay, कोई बात नहीं. So when we allow this to happen, that okay, we see the movements, we let them be there, we are not following their dictates, we are letting them be there. Then what happens is that we almost become so vast, just like space. Space allows tsunamis to happen, space allows volcanoes to burst, space allows all the calamities to happen, and it also allows buildings to happen, new buildings, nature to develop. So the more we allow our feelings to be, sensations and thoughts to be, not really following their dictates, there we use our discernment, but just letting them be, noticing them. Okay, अभी ये है, अभी अच्छा ये मामला भी चल रहा है, अच्छा ये desires भी चल रही हैं. Okay, so just plainly noticing them, it makes us first of all more embracing of our own self, like becoming more whole. And then we also are able to connect with the same empathy to others. That if I have seen all such movements in myself, then other is also a human being. He also goes through the same similar movements. Yeah? So do not start plainly judging or criticizing yourself, or saying something like, oh, again I became angry and I'm the most stupid person, because that pulls us again down. It takes us into another trap. If you find a fault in yourself, go straightway to the solution. So mother says that the moment you recognize that you have made an error or a mistake, which you could have done better, you notice it shamelessly, to you move on. You brood over it. Okay, I could have done better. Okay, offer it to the mother, move on. Because the more time we spend in the guilt trip, the more darker it becomes inside, and the more difficult it is to reach to light. So a shamelessness of a certain sort, that गलतियां करेंगे, गलतियों से ही सीखेंगे, मैं भी एक इंसान हूं. So a kind of a shamelessness of that sort, I believe, is necessary. Provided you are sincere that you're making efforts. You're making efforts, you are trying to do better every day. You're trying to offer all the things that you see in yourself to the higher, to the divine. And you want to improve, you really want to let the inner being out and the outer crust soften, the ego soften. So agar aisa chal raha hai, to this is what is suggested. Judging hardens the situation. Judging hardens, it makes it more concrete. wo jo darkness ki baat kar rahe the, it makes the situation more dark, more impenetrable. So the light people, when we get into depression, why we get into depression? Because we keep on thinking about same thing again and again. Oh my god, how could I do that? So that really heavies us down. So as if no one, not even our closest ones, are able to show us the light, because we have built a brick wall around our own self, thinking and thinking and thinking, obsessively thinking about the same thing. So the brick wall then becomes very difficult to dissipate, like dissolve, very difficult. So observe that criticism is happening, that I am still criticizing myself. Observe, maybe laugh over it and move on. Moving on is very important. It is best to observe yourself as, on a mild sunny day, you would observe a child playing in a park in an open and relaxed manner. I think that's really beautiful what he says here, that as if, imagine that you are looking at a child playing in a park and he's doing all kinds of kartabs here and there, and you are relaxing and enjoying. and what needs to be done will be done after this observation. There is no active aggression that is required, active guilt or active bashing that is required. Without bashing also we can do. Yeah. So anything, please keep on adding or reflecting if you have anything to say.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So recently I have been observing myself, but this observation becomes a bit difficult when we are tired from inside, because throughout the day we do a lot of tasks, and sometimes it takes a mental toll on you and you become mentally tired. So when you're tired, how do you keep on observing despite the pain that you are feeling?
So
Thank you.
you're talking about mental exhaustion or physical exhaustion?
I think it is connected because, for example, if you're in a job where you have to stand for 4 hours, let's say, then you will be physically tired also, and plus you're mentally doing some task. You are, talking to somebody, you are sharing knowledge, or you're doing anything which takes a mental toll on you. So physical and mental both tiredness I face. So what do I do in that situation? How do I keep on observing?
Yeah. Great. So two things here. First thing is that when we are mentally exhausted, we are very receptive. That's why most of the schools, first we do physical activities, because physical activities exhaust us and then we become receptive. So if it's a physical exhaustion, then it's beautiful because we become a little silent and receptive. If it's a mental exhaustion, which you were talking of, I believe, mental exhaustion mein kya hota hai? I think after you have done enough, you have talked enough, you have blurted out enough, the mind becomes silent. So there is a kind of a
Yeah.
stillness in the being, and there is really nothing to observe. One can just enjoy the stillness.
Okay.
The other thing is that the more we go on this path and the more we see that whatever we are talking about becomes more of effortless. Like, for example, I'm breathing. Now, breathing for me is effortless, for you also, right? So I don't have to put effort in breathing. But when we are
Yeah.
parted in our being, that what I am talking is something different from what I am living, then I face
Right.
a mental exhaustion.
Right.
So imagine that a flower to ooze out its fragrance would not be exhausted ki hai aaj to main khushbu deta deta thak hi gaya. It can't help but be
Right.
fragrant.
Right.
Yeah. So slowly as we grow on this path, our presence itself, or whatever we are talking, it's so alive that you don't feel exhausted. It's the work of grace that happens through you. So instead of
Okay.
exhaustion, you feel more energized even after talking. It's not exhaustion. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Anything to share or add on? Yeah. So one last point that I want to share is that in the beginning, for us, observation is an active process. Silencing of the mind is an active process. Yeah. So we put effort in it. Slowly, as we grow into it, observation becomes effortless. You can't help but observe. And there, one would not drain energy in observation. It's just a happening. You're not putting active energies into it. But since we are all coming from old habits of living unconsciously, all of us come from there, we grow from there. So in the beginning, to notice our movements, which we have not been noticing earlier, feels like an effort, and it actually drains energy, which is absolutely just a phase, and it one grows through it, but it passes. And slowly we grow more aware, like without observation, my life is dead. You feel like maybe something is missing if I am living unconsciously. Yeah. So the more it becomes natural flow of your being, one does not have to really put much effort into it. That sincerity or that conscious effort becomes like a natural flow for us, for all of us, and it grows in degrees. But we have to know that we are trying to break our old patterns, and that needs effort, which the effort of which Sambhav here talked about, and that needs a lot of effort. Without effort, it cannot be, this path cannot be. Yeah. So just sharing a few lines from the mother here, and then we will move on to the next theme, the instruments of manifestation. There are two things to be considered: consciousness, that through which I see the thought, the feeling, the sensation, or I see the whole of world, consciousness, and the instruments through which the consciousness manifests. What are the instruments? The thoughts, the feelings, emotions, and the body, sense perceptions. Let us take the instruments. There is the mental being, which produces thoughts, the emotional being, which produces feeling, the vital being, again the emotional being, which produces the power of action. So vitality, we see people who are full of vitality, full of action, life force. That is the vital being, and it's also connected to the emotive being, the emotional being, and the physical being, which does the action, where the action is required, physical being, the body. These are the instruments through which consciousness acts. उसके बिना consciousness का काम नहीं चलता. काम अर्थ पे काम करने के लिए consciousness को instrument चाहिए through which it can act, and these are the instruments. If you want a more swift and visible progress, it can only be by bringing your psychic to the front, the soul, the inner being to the front, through a constant self-offering. So usually we are offering ourselves to our desires, our ambitions, our greed, all kinds of agendas that we may have. Slowly, when we have suffered enough, I would say, through them, we realize that the best path for me is to offer my whole being, offer my thoughts, offer my feelings, offer my body at the service of the higher intelligence. But this grows only once we have our own failures, all the errors, mistakes, all the blunders committed. We have gotten enough blows, and then one becomes convinced that, okay, now I know this is the way. Although this should not remain like this. It's not that after 30-40 years of my life I realize, oh my God, I could have done better. It does not have to be like that. For example, when we now are rearing up our children, so the psychic flowering can be taken care of since the childhood. We don't have to first hammer it, shun it, and then later on at 30-40 years of our age flower it. That is not a required process. So that's the part of self-observation. We will end this theme there. Anything from here or the last session, or then we will move on to the next theme today. Okay, so I'm assuming there is nothing, and if there is not anything, you will unmute and share. So how to reach for the psychic being in search of the soul? How to go in digging for this hidden treasure? So there are a few points which have to be considered, again coming from Mother and Sri Aurobindo and their teachings, that it may take us years to have a complete discovery of the soul. In glimpses, we all have our own experiences. Yeah, and even now we continue to have our deep experiences in glimpses. But to have a complete discovery and to have the psychic completely in front may take many years. So one has to be very persistent. But each time, the gift here is that each time we go in the search and open yourself to the innermost reality, we will receive something from there. It's like almost if you are, imagine that there is a source of light, and you are moving towards that source of light. So already a few meters or kilometers before that source of light is really there, you receive the light. उसके पास पहुंचते पहुंचते ही उसकी फ्रेग्रेंस या उसकी लाइट आनी शुरू हो जाती है. अभी आप पूरे पहुंचे नहीं हो उसके पास, but you are able to have a little bit of light, yeah, or a fragrance. So it's almost like that the more we go deeper, connect with our deeper being, we, even although we have not really touched the soul, but the fragrance is oozing out, the silence, the peace, the tranquility, we are able to sense it. We are able to touch something precious in us. So that is the gift of the search. Something that is so precious that will change the quality of your life. All of us who even in glimpses have tasted this inner essence, masters have said this inner honey, the nectar of the divine. We have tasted that peace, that tranquility, working from that calm and quietude within, and yet full of power. It's not a passive quietude. It's a very active quietude that whenever you have the necessity, you are full of force and action. But it's not aggressive also. The innermost reality becomes more concrete and real and provides a solid base for building your life. So right now, everything that happens externally, in my thoughts, in my feelings, what people say to me, what is happening externally, that is more concrete, that is more real. And that's many a time presses down on me. It makes me do things which I would not even like to do. So right now, this is so real for me. And slowly, as I dig deeper within the being, that becomes more and more real. So I create, I'm as if I'm tapping into a newer reality for myself. Every time you contact this base, you feel enveloped with something precious, something that gives beautiful and true meaning to life, something which is very deep, very meaningful, full of contentment, even when many a times money, etc., may be not associated, but it's full of contentment. Yeah. So anything, anyone? I think it's duplicate slide here. Yeah. So the goal may not be easy to reach, but we need to be persistent. Mother says that the one cornerstone of this discovery is persistence, not giving up. And I have seen that it's not actually possible to give up also, because once you even have a taste for a little while, you will not be able to enjoy the usual unconscious life that you are living before. You will not be able to reverse your path. The goal may be not easy to reach, but every sincere call for help is answered, says the mother. And it's like if there is one prayer from below, 5 hands from above, a friend was sharing, come to help. So the divine grace is right here to help whenever a sincere call goes up. And in Savitri also there are lines as if this divine grace stooping, like the eagle stoops down for its prey. Agar eagle ko kahin dur se dikh gaya ek chooha baitha hua, it just very directly stoops down to the prey and catches it. So that's how fast the divine grace answers the call whenever you need help, whenever there is a sincere call. And mother shares that the psychic being in each of us is the deeper being, which you have to find in order that you may come in contact with the divine in you. It is the intermediary between the divine consciousness and your external consciousness. So as if it's a bridge, there is a flame burning inside, and then there is this outer consciousness, mental, vital, the feeling, thought, emotion, this the outer crust, the ego, and the bridge is the psychic being. It connects the divinity to the outer surface personality. It is the builder of inner life. It is that which manifests in the outer nature the order and the rule of the divine will. So behind the veil, the psychic being is working all the time, but it's working in such a silent manner that it's not noticeable. So all our failures, all our mistakes, all our blunders, all of them have a reason. There is a work that is happening. It's not for not any reason that I fall into a trap. There is always a reason to falling into mistake, trap, or whatever we may call it, because there is something to learn, something I have to become conscious of. Somebody was asking mother, mother, why do accidents happen? So for example, some people are very prone to accident, they stumble very easily. So mother says they happen so that you can become conscious. And this I have been using for a long time now. For example, whenever I would work in the kitchen, and I enjoy working in the kitchen, although I'm not a foodie, but I enjoy whatever little work I do in the kitchen. So I remember that the first time it happened, there was a karchi in my hand and it slipped from my hand. Now, when you see this happening, when you become more and more conscious of your movements, every little sign can be taken as something of, for progress. So I would take it as, okay, there was definitely something going on in my head. That's why, so I would say thank you. I would say thank you ki ye karchi giri, so that I realized that there was something going on in my head. And otherwise I would be peacefully doing work of chopping or cutting or whatever is required. Yeah. But the moment you begin to go into the thought trap, as if you're going into the story trap, something will fall. So I would take it as even now, I take it as a reminder for me that, hey, I was just getting pulled into the story zone, and come back. So mother also says that accidents are just to make you more conscious of things which you are not conscious of. So it's the psychic being working from the veil within. It's like a veil. We cannot see it, we cannot feel it, sense it, but the work is happening. It's a very silent something working within. So this outer being, or the surface personality, or the ego in other terms, or the outer envelope of thought, feeling, sensations, outer being is like a crust. It's like thick and hard. In ordinary people, the crust is so hard and thick that they are not conscious of the divine within them. क्योंकि वो उनके लिए वही identity है. People who, those of us who are used to live in thought, feeling, sensation, thought, feeling, sensation, thought, feeling, sensation, that becomes our reality. So the crust becomes thicker and thicker. And that's why the divine presence, as if I'm numb to that presence, although it is right here, but I'm numb to it. I've just numbed myself in the addiction of thoughts, feelings, and sensation. And that's why masters have talked so much about restraining the senses, calming the senses down, because senses create a lot of noise pollution through which I cannot sense the divine presence. If once, even for a moment only, the inner being has said, I am here and I am yours, then it is as though a bridge has been built, and little by little, crust becomes thinner and thinner until the two parts, the inner and the outer being, they are joined, and the inner and the outer become one. So in your life, you are manifesting the divine will. हम अपनी ego की will नहीं कर रहे, अब अपनी हम whatever actions we do is a manifestation of divine will. Yeah? Consciously, actively. So this is how slowly the connection develops. And one would feel the need of this connection in life. Otherwise, one would not be able to put effort, because as we were discussing, effort is required. So हमारा effort जब तक उन directions में है जहां से हमको लगता है अच्छा वहां से फायदा है, तब तक वहां पे लगाएं. But जब हमको realize हो जाए that okay, कहीं से भी राहत नहीं मिलती है, and this is the only way to find, first of all, solace, and secondly, the true purpose and meaning in our life. only then we can slowly put effort, because then it becomes meaningful. So outer disturbances and challenges will remain. Little bit issues here and there will remain. But I would also know that all this is happening for good. There is a meaning in each curve and line. I have to learn and grow through these challenges. Yeah. So that also, that knowing also develops. So we'll do an exercise. Just a second. Yeah. So in 2 slides, we will be doing an exercise. If you have not already kept a paper and pencil, just keep it next to you. After 2 slides, we'll do it. So how to recognize the crust in us when we were talking of outer personalities, like a thick crust. So whenever we observe ourselves, what do we observe? We observe our thoughts. We observe our feelings. We observe any bodily sensations, cravings, desires that we be having. All this is a crust, like a parda, like a curtain. So when we begin to observe ourselves, what we notice first is a crust. This is the outer crust. And we don't really directly are able to touch the inner presence. What we see is thought, feeling, and sense perceptions, and that is the crust. Why is it difficult to experience the psychic? Because the outer being, the feeling, thoughts, and emotions, it's full of ignorance. उसको बस अपनी करनी है, एक जिद हो जाती है ना कि मुझे बस यही चाहिए, ठान लिया मैंने, बस मुझे वो चाहिए. And that's why Buddha said attachment is the cause of suffering. So the thought has now gotten attached. अरे नहीं, यहाँ पे वो हो जाना चाहिए जो मुझे चाहिए. अब वो आपको पागल करे जा रहा है. हमारे सबके साथ होता है, it's not something new or unique. So any soft spot that I have in my life, the point of attachment, that will make me go bonkers. I will lose my head, I will lose my emotions, I will lose my physical energy in that attachment. And that is the crust. And that's why it is difficult to dig, kind of deeper from the crust, because the crust is thick and hard. Also, why is it difficult? Because psychic being has not any demands. है ना. अब इमेजिन करो आपके पास 2 बच्चे हैं. एक बच्चा बहुत डिमांडिंग बच्चा है, उसको हर 2 मिनट में कुछ ना कुछ अटेंशन चाहिए, कुछ बात करनी है, कुछ ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, भूख लगी है, पॉटी जाना है. और दूसरा बच्चा साइलेंट है, he is in his own world, not really wanting attention. Your attention will be more focused on the one who is needing attention. So the outer being in us, the ego personality, it demands attention. And that's where we lose most of our energies. We give so much of importance to those demands. कि नहीं भाई, डिमांड आई है तो फुलफिल तो करनी है. अरे भाई, डिजायर आई है, अरे यार चाट पकौड़ी खाने की डिजायर आई है तो फुलफिल तो करनी है. So we give so much of importance to those demands that we are rarely free to notice something else. So the psychic being is like that child which is very silent, has no demands, it has no desires, and that's why desirelessness is required on the path. So either you become desireless first and connect with the psychic, or connect with the psychic and hence touch desirelessness by side effect. Yeah? So it has no desires, it is quiet. Yeah. Whereas the mental and the vital nature is constantly pressing their demands, and we are the ones giving importance to their demands. मेरे लिए वो demand बहुत important हो जाती है, and that's why I put effort there rather than putting effort in finding something deeper and truer. They ask for attention all the time, and especially the vital being, the emotive being, the being of desires is never satisfied. इतना मिल गया तो और चाहिए, वो मिल गया तो और कुछ चाहिए, अच्छा ये तो हो गया, अब कहीं और पकड़ते हैं, किसी और की पूंछ पकड़ते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए. तो ये जो चाहत वाला जो हमारे में बीइंग होता है, इसको मदर एंड श्री अरबिंदो आल्सो से डिजायर सोल. It's like a false soul. It's not really a soul, but it's named as false soul. कि मेरी आत्मा की इच्छा है कि मेरे मरने से पहले तेरी शादी हो जाए. कोई आत्मा की कोई इच्छा नहीं होती. तो वो हमारी फॉल्स वाइटल बीइंग की इच्छा है जो हम आत्मा की इच्छा बता रहे हैं. So the journey of our human nature, human being, is of walking from the desired soul to the true soul, which is the psychic being, or which in other terms we touched upon, the consciousness which makes everything possible for us to observe, to see. That consciousness, in that consciousness, I have to stabilize myself each moment of my life. And that consciousness is not demanding. The moment you touch it even once, you would know it does not demand anything. It's neutral. It does not have any likings or preferences. You know, आप इसी आंख से आप सुअर भी देखते हो, आप राजा को भी देखते हो. So this consciousness which is making the eye see, it does not criticize, it just sees everything. It is that consciousness in Upanishads. There is a description of this consciousness. It is that which is making the eyes see. It is that which is making the ears listen. It is that which is making even the intelligence function. But we forget that. We ignore that. So that's where we have to stabilize ourselves. So putting away the outer contentment, it's hard at times, it's very challenging, yet we put effort. Put away the outer contentment for a while, put away all the desires at the side, and stabilize myself knowingly as in this, what we were talking earlier, looking at the looking itself, knowing myself as the looking and not the content of the looking. And there is absolute freedom. There we are not tied. Yeah. I think this we already discussed. So let us do this exercise. It's a small little exercise, and after that we can see, share reflections, and after that we can end. So many people again and again have asked Mother how to have the experience of psychic. And Mother has given so many different hints here and there, here and there. She has also elaborated those 11 points, which I have been sharing again and again in many sessions, the 11 points of moving towards the psychic being. So Mother in here, in this exercise, to go within, that is the first step. And what do we mean by going within? It can be done in various variety of ways, going within. So first we relax ourselves with a couple of deep breaths. And then we focus on the looking. We notice what is going on, and we notice the noticing also. Once you have succeeded in going within yourself deeply, enough to feel the reality of that which is within, to widen yourself progressively. क्योंकि हम क्या करते हैं, हम अपने आप को कट करते रहते हैं. अच्छा ये नहीं चाहिए, वो नहीं चाहिए, हाँ, तो उसमें we become very narrow. अच्छा वो आ गया तो उससे भी आपका बैलेंस डिस्टर्ब हो जाएगा. अच्छा उधर से आ गया कुछ, उधर से भी बैलेंस, हर चीज से बैलेंस डिस्टर्ब हो, तो बैलेंस है ही कहाँ जो बैलेंस इतनी जल्दी डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है. So here what we are doing is we are widening ourselves. We are embracing all the movements. Okay, this thought is also there, that feeling is also there. Acha ye bhi baitha hai, wo bhi baitha hai. So you're almost becoming like space, like the space in this room or the wherever the room that you are. That space allows everything to come and go. It does not say acha usko le aao, usko mat lao. So we are becoming wide and embracing like the space itself. And consciousness has, I would say, qualities of that space, that it's all embracing. It does not judge कि इसको आने दूं, उसको नहीं आने दूं. It says yes to everything. So to become as vast as the universe and lose the sense of limitation. So when I know myself as the looking has no limitation. When I know myself as the noticing has no limit to itself. Only mind has limits when it judges. अरे ये अच्छा है, ये बुरा है, इसको गंदा है, ये सही नहीं है, ये spiritual है, ये anti spiritual है. There I put limits. But in noticing, there are no limits. So this, and for this kind of tranquility in the mind is required, a kind of silence, stillness within is required, which comes gradually as we become ready for it. And then it has to be done regularly. मदर कहती हैं कि ये नहीं कि एक दिन सोचा और दूसरे दिन भूल गए. Now you are at it. I will find what is this thing called psychic. I will follow whatever I have to follow, whatever I have to notice, how deep I have to go within. And that has to become a regular practice, just like breathing is a regular thing. I cannot live without breathing. So going deeply within, observing my movements, non-judgmentally, where I am right now, staying with that looking itself, that has to become a daily habit, not once in a blue moon thing. And then mother says that by the action of grace, veil may suddenly be rent from within. Just mother uses this example of egg. An egg is developing. Egg ke andar choosa is developing. And for a long time, you don't know what is happening. The egg remains the egg. And one day it suddenly cracks. And you see, oh my God, from a yolk or the albumin or yolk, whatever that was there, now this thing has arrived. So mother says that it's almost like this. For a long time, you would feel, okay, nothing is happening really. And you would feel like giving up, but don't give up. And you would continue to have this taste at least of sweetness within, that something is changing. Yeah. But the major change or major breakthrough may happen by the action of grace. And we don't know when we are ready for that. So one day it will just, the parda would giro. One parda would giro. Yeah, so this is the worksheet. Let's do this. And we can share at the end of the session, we can share after doing, or whatever. If you want to keep it private, that is completely okay also. So let us write these down, take a moment of pause, take a moment of reflection, and write this down for ourselves. What fans my aspiration? Aspiration is this willingness to progress in life, willingness to be a better and better version of yourself. What fans my aspiration? And the second one, the questions are in front of you. I'll still keep on saying. In a difficult situation, how do you get back again to a deeper level of consciousness? We are all thwarted with challenges all the time, emotional, mental, physical challenges. So in a difficult situation, how do I get back to a deeper level of consciousness? How do you overcome feelings of hurt? Because we are hurt, from time to time. किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, बाहर कुछ ऐसा हो गया, कुछ इमोशन हर्ट हो गए, फीलिंग हर्ट हो गई, कुछ ना कुछ हर्ट होता रहता है. सो हाउ डू वी ओवरकम फीलिंग्स ऑफ हर्ट? What makes you calm and open to inner silence? What gives you inner joy? How do you keep in touch with that? And what is your telephone number of the divine? So if you want to contact something higher than you, because at times we don't have the answers we are looking for, we want resolutions, we may not have the resolutions, and then we contact something higher than us, we pray or whatever, do something. So what is, how do I make that connection? What is my telephone number of the divine? It may be many, many ways, or it may be one or a couple of ways in which we do that. So let's take a pause here, complete your writing, and then whenever we are ready, we can share a few things if we like. Yeah, anyone who feels ready to share something or the other from whatever you have written or reflected down. If we don't want to share, that is also okay. So I'll just finish up with the last few slides in that case, if no one else is sharing here at the moment. If you feel like sharing, you come up. Yeah. So this is what we were focusing on, from the beginning itself, since many sessions also, I keep on reiterating it. The starting point is to seek in yourself that which is independent of the body and the circumstances of life, which is not born of the mental formation that you have been giving, the conditioning, the culture, the conscience that we have been given through our social conditioning, that is not dependent on that. The language you speak, it is independent of the language you speak. The habits and customs of the environment that in which you live, and the country where you are born, or to the age which you belong. So we have to seek something in us, and this something in us is not that mystical. It's very obvious actually, and it's so obvious that we ignore it. Now, if we go into somebody's house, a newly built house, all that we look at is the objects in the house. अच्छा sofa बहुत सुंदर लिया है, bed बड़ा सुंदर लिया है, but we do not notice the space of the house, because space is obvious, it's taken for granted. And just like that in me, which makes everything perceptible, but itself is not perceptible, itself is beyond perception. That's what we were talking of by saying looking at the looking itself, noticing the noticing itself, or the consciousness with which we notice the thought, feeling, or sensation. So that is beyond religion, that is beyond genders. The same noticing is present in you and me. It's the same, it's neutral, gender neutral. It is beyond the culture. It is beyond the languages we may speak. Somebody may be Italian, somebody may be German, doesn't matter. The noticing is the same. Consciousness is the same, with which one knows the thought, the feeling, sensation. So that has to be concretized for us. It's a matter different that we are talking here today about it. But in your practical experiences, how you connect with it, we are always connected with it. How you stabilize in that consciousness, that's the challenge. How you knowingly work now from that consciousness, rather than identifying with the thought, the feeling, or me and my story, not giving all that much of importance as much we do. This becomes the most prior in my life. And how to continue on the path? If once you feel you have touched something beautiful inside, the next step is to remain aware of this presence. Remain aware of this inner presence. There is something very precious that is there with me all the time, 24/7. It's just a gift. I did not ask for it. It's a gift. And when we begin to live like this, then we begin to feel a kind of a splitting apart of us. We feel that we are living on two planes. One is this inner plane, and one is this outer plane. And slowly, this demarcation completely fuses. What we were talking earlier, the inner and the outer fuse. So the inner being takes the full charge of outer activity. Now the outer is its own master, as if there is no direct master on the outer being. But slowly, as we grow in this consciousness, initially we will feel a split, as if कि ऊपर सतह पे कुछ और चल रहा है और अंदर there is another presence growing on. So slowly this fuses and it becomes one. The inner takes the charge of the outer manifestation, outer instrumentation also. So the thoughts, feelings, sense perceptions, they all gain that purity, sincerity gradually as we grow on the path. अब उनका कोई अपना एजेंडा नहीं है ना, अपनी कोई उनकी फुलफिलमेंट नहीं है. They are directed by the inner being, of which we become consciously more and more aware and make that as our identity rather than the surface consciousness as our identity. Yeah. So from my side, I think I would like to end here. If there is any lasting comments or thoughts, reflections, please add on. I hope we are all awake because I was the only one speaking today. Maybe Sambhav spoke a little, shared a little, but I hope.
Yes, Monica, we are all awake.
Came here, it was just so deep that I was just taking some time to absorb it all.
Yeah.
So, Monica, while I did not finish the whole thing, I can just, briefly share whatever has, I could think through, because so one of the things is also you spoke about what fans my aspiration. Actually, it is just a deep inner desire now to live a life, that is peaceful, loving, joyful, both for myself and for those around me. So there is a conscious decision to, let go of all the drama that has happened in my life, both caused to me and caused by me to others, actually. So always trying to be a better person is something. So I have started some daily practices that, help me also. For example, daily practices of yoga and meditation. I read around 5 pages from Bhagavad Gita every day now for more than a year now. So these things also actually keep me, at least help me to remain on a higher plane than what I was for the first so many years, decades of my life, actually. And what it also, does is that I also realize that this is a big effort. But fortunately for me, persistence has never been my weakness or something like that. I've persisted in a number of situations. So I do believe that, if I keep persisting, ultimately the light will shine someday. I don't know how far it is away, but it will. So that's what that faith that something will happen for the positive keeps me going, basically. And in terms of joy, and I always found joy in nature. I always found it, for example, a child's innocence, things that are pure, simple, and nice. I've always found joy in those things, basically. I could not go beyond that. This is what I've done so far.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, very interesting. Anyone else who wants to share?
Yeah, inner joy. Again, I would like to share that what gives you inner joy is like a pure energy of children, little children. And yeah, it's very beautiful. And it instantly heals you, that presence and just spending little time with them. And how do you keep in touch with that? Yes, you aspire to be around them. And, and that's childlike part in you also, right? So that that part of you, that essence in you, when you touch that, I think that inner joy just is there. You have to just connect to that part in you because you were a child, and just going back to that part in you when you just had this pure bliss. So yeah, that helps.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, anyone else who would like to share anything either from the worksheet or anything else?
So one more thing I want to share is like, how do you overcome feelings of hurt? Now, this has been, a gradual progression, but right now what I can see is that I let the hurt be, yeah. So, and that is also not an effort. Now it stays like that, there is space for hurt, and I feel it till I feel it, and it's there, and then it just diffuses and goes. But I can't say, like, 10 years ago that was the case. But yeah, now I am in that space where, it's not that hurt doesn't happen, but there is a lot of space for it to be there. And yes, I feel it, like, feel it totally, till it just dissipates. So it sometimes it takes 5-6 days also, but it doesn't it is so separate, and oh, parallelly it can stay. That is what I feel.
Yeah, very interesting. Yes. Yeah. I think most of the suffering comes from the resistance to whatever we may be feeling. So I think this is really beautiful that I allow it to be there. And first, I think for the first few hours or days, we may just indulge in the hurt also. That's how it is somehow. But then we let it be. And as you were sharing, it dissolves or dissipates. Yeah. Not giving it too much of importance or space, or following the dictates of the hurt, because many a times
Exactly.
hurt also dictates. Yeah.
Yeah, and also judging yourself. No, like earlier, I used to do that. Like,
Mm,
yeah, like, it kind of leads to suppression.
mm.
But uh, now it's not like that. Yeah.
Beautiful. One thing which I'm reminded of here is mother says that it's only the human being that takes itself so seriously. So this quality of almost laughing at our own follies, errors, or whatever, not giving everything too much of importance. I think that's also something which can be used as a tool from time to time to just kind of not take things that seriously and not give too much importance to what people may think about me, what I may think about myself, uh, what other person has said to me, what was not said to me. I think we take it all so seriously. And children, as you were reminding, Shweta, I think children are a beautiful reminder, because they are so much in the present. Little children are so much in the present, full of joy, full of creativity and this flow for life, that their mere presence brings you back to the present, rather than uh, being somewhere away in the thoughts and the story and the drama part. So yeah, I think it's a blessing to have little children, as long as we don't corrupt them from our own corruption. I think they are there for our own growth. Like, they are our gurus. We should not become their gurus. Otherwise, they would have a bad example to follow.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Okay, so shall we end it here then? Anyone else? Okay. So thank you again for joining, and thank you for listening so patiently, reflecting, and giving it time. Yeah. See you
Thank
next
you.
week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Monica.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.